Hey everyone, Lauren Wild here. We are going to do a quick Tarot Tuesday. Got lots of feedback that tarot is definitely something people are wanting more posting and support around. Also, I shared like this little story this weekend. I was having an anxiety attack and I shared about it on my Instagram stories about how when I have a panic attack, I tend to divine what's happening with me to help me understand what I'm having a panic attack about. Sometimes I can't, when I'm in a panic attack, I can't quite discern like what's me and like what am I empathing. And I know a lot of the people that I work with, I would say 99% are empaths, witches, right? Psychics, mediums, intuitives, hypersensitive individuals, that it's their predominant language and sensory system is not necessarily verbal or physical, right? It is this more subtle sense, right? The clairaudience, clairsentience, like clear knowing, like you just know, right? And that's a part of what it means to be an empath. And being an empath is a great gift, but if you don't know you're an empath and you don't know tools to help you deal with your empathic tendencies and behaviors and symptoms of being an empath, it can feel like a curse. So I love to use my cards as a mindfulness tool to help me be able to name some things, okay? So this past weekend when I did it on my stories, this is the card that I pulled, which is feeling the whole world, which really allowed me to understand that in that moment, I was channeling for somebody, empathing, I was priestessing, holding something for someone or lots of people, and it wasn't necessarily my own stuff. It doesn't mean that it just like stopped my panic attack, but it did allow me to recognize like, okay, I need to let this pass, right? And then I did the things that I usually do, like lay on the floor and deep breathe and engage my senses and go outside and do qigong and ground, right? So all of that being said, I want to show you what that looks like practically because I had a lot of really good feedback and it seems like a lot of people got something out of it, okay? So first things first, if you are working with divination practice, like the fastest thing you'll understand is number one, you're going to get addicted to buying decks. It's just part of what happens, okay? But you know, they can become costly. So let me give you a couple of recommendations on what I suggest to have in your divination arsenal, your little medicine bag, in terms of how to get a clear reading with about 3 or 4 decks, so that, you know, you kind of like know. Because if you're like me, when you have anxiety, it's like everything feels like panic. So I kind of have like this anxiety like little kit that I like literally, here, I'll show you, one second. Like I literally have like a little kit that I'm in the process of putting together that's gonna have like cards and my yoga dice and stuff like that. So if you're like wondering what I'm talking about, scroll back. It was on Saturday. It's also on my TikTok, my witch talk. So, okay, first things first, what you need is an oracle deck that really addresses a pretty wide array of things. My favorite for this is the Oracle of the 7 Energies by Colette-Baron Reid. So this is the deck that I tend to use to center like what's happening to me, okay? Because this deck is like really, first of all, anything Colette-Baron Reid makes is amazing. And she's so like knowledgeable. She's been making decks for so long and she's so knowledgeable. But this deck, it kind of encompasses like everything, okay? And I really like that because I feel like it covers like everyday type things, all right? So that's at the center of my like, what's going on with me, right? Then of course you need a good tarot deck. This is the Light Seers deck and by Chris Ann, and it's my favorite current tarot deck. I mean, my professional deck is my Thoth deck, and that's what I use for readings. But I have noticed that this is softer, and if I'm having an anxiety attack, I can't really hold the intensity of Thoth's truth. I will always come back with Thoth and clarify things, but when I'm like in a not so great space, I tend to reach for my Light Seers because it's a beautiful deck. I love the imagery. It's very inclusive. but also the pages are short, but very clear and easy to understand, okay? The next thing I have is an astrology deck, okay? And it just has basic astrology things. This deck it's called the Numious Astro deck. And I love it because it allows me, I can ask something like, well, what astrology aspects are really affecting me right now? This one's not necessary, but it is helpful if you're into astrology and you're trying to deepen into that practice and your self-study. Or if you're, a growing astrologer, that's a really great way to get clearer readings. And then last but not least, I always like to work with some sort of deck that has divinity in it, okay? So I can say, well, whose energy can I call on to support me at this time, right? So I'll show you what my reading will look like here in just a minute. This is the Goddess deck, again by Colette-Baron Reid. It doesn't have to be this deck. But I work with the Divine Feminine. Another great one is the Divine Feminine Oracle by Megan Watterson and She Who Is Art. And so it doesn't have to be that. Like, especially if you're working with masculine energy, it doesn't have to be those. It's just you want something that's like you can find the archetype of like who's trying to help you. What is their medicine that they're trying to support you with? Maybe it's, like Lilith, and it's you need to, deconstruct and take back your power and say fuck you to the world and like be you. Or it could be something like Kuan Yin, which is like you might be a little too harsh in this moment. You might need to move past criticism into compassion and understand everybody's having a hard time. And you know what I mean? So like having that myth, right? Or like that archetype of energy is helpful to help you understand of like who energy is wanting to support you in this time, okay? So before I lose my 10 minutes here to do a little video, I'm going to show you what it looks like, okay? So the first oracle card is what's going on with me right now, right? What's going on with me? What's going on with me? If you feel like you don't have the energy flowing with your card, knock on them, call on your guides, maybe light some candles, ask your ancestors, your higher self, and any deities you want to work with into the space. What's going on with me this morning? You can talk to your deck, like I feel a little anxious, I got a lot to do. I feel like I don't know how to self-start this morning. What's going on with me in the bigger picture? 2 more shuffles, please. Let your cards know when you're about to flip them. Last shuffle, please. Thank you. All right. Okay, so smoke and mirrors, okay? So that's in the center. You can also look on the bottom, which is exposed and revealed. Wow. Wasn't expecting this right now. All right, I'll take it. So these are like the energies. You don't have to take what's under it, but you can, okay? The next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your tarot and you're going to ask for clarifiers. And you're going to say, Spirit, can I please get 2 cards to clarify what smoke and mirrors is about, or whatever the name of the card is that's in the center. Can I get 2 cards to help me understand what smoke and mirrors is about? Number 1, I got the 10 of Cups. And what else is smoke and mirrors about? 1 more, please. And I am doing the intuitive shuffle right now versus the Vegas shuffle. Okay. 1 more, please. What is smoke and mirrors about? Can I have more clarity, please, Spirit? There we go. Oh, we got a bunch of them. Okay. So whether or not you take all of them is up to you. I'm going to take them because I'm a tarot reader, so I can read them. But sometimes more tarot cards is better, gives you more information. But you want to stay with it, okay? And then if you wanted to do astrology, you would say, like, what astrology is affecting me right now? What astrology is affecting me right now? What astrology is affecting me right now? Okay, Leo and Virgo. And then last but not least, I would say which goddess is wanting to support me? And it was Hera, Alliance, Nike, Ambition, and Green Tara, Salvation. Okay, so then I would sit here with my journal. I'd make sure to date it and write a couple words about what's going on. And then I would read it. Hopefully this was helpful for you guys. See you later. Bye.